So, um, it's kind of another aspect of the story about how I developed an understanding of the factitious disorder that I was subject to for most of my life, and the sort of deviations from reality, that sort of implies. It's subtle. It's not like it's everything, but it affects how I viewed myself in the context of reality, how I looked at myself in the context of other people throughout my life. Um, More significant was that I I never I never really asserted myself with regards to reporting the abuse that I suffered, and other people sort of benefited from that because you know like my parents having to go through that, and it's a complicated thing when you're because it's different than like physical abuse. I did suffer some physical abuse, but by my parents, not so much. They had other children who rather severely abused me. My parents, my father specifically, I think he had this belief that what he was doing was going to benefit me, and he was very wrong about that. He didn't really understand at all um, what was necessary. And so, like, as a teenager, running away from home and stuff like that. But anyway, figuring out the factitious disorder out in Montana is interesting because my experiences in Montana were after I had had a heart attack up in the mountains. And when I was up there, I had this. Well, it really didn't happen until Billings. I had found a place, I was staying in a place, but I had a feeling that it was like an old man who, it's hard to explain, but he had been with me. He had been there on the mountain, or somehow he was there on the mountain with me. And this isn't a physical person. This came to me kind of in the context of dream between meditation, and it's difficult because I even have a difficult time even isolating a moment, and that's why I feel that it was more the experience of a much stronger spirit who came to me, the old man, and he had seen me in the mountain where I had fallen, and I was dying. After I had fallen, I was in very, very bad cardiac state. So I went to the hospital. But months later in Billings, it was when I had this. I had gotten a job. Somebody had been accused of Munchausen. I quit the job. But the whole context of it wasn't anger at anybody. I didn't hate anybody. I started to look at Munchausen, and then I started to see how that was a factor in my own life and within my own mind. And that as a result of developing a factitious disorder, I also, have had a great deal of frustration and anger as a person. And that's, the ugly side of this condition, the ugly side of people like me. What makes people frightened of people like me is that historically, going back in time, people who haven't had the benefit of the experiences that I've had, because I've had a very good education, but I've suffered a great deal in terms of like emotional connections to other people. One of the things about autism, people like, or the condition that I have, is that I am very highly dependent on other people. All of us are. Everybody, every human being. I am rather independent, but everybody is relying on other people. But and so it was I felt it was it was an old man that had come to me and was showing me this, and that it's been a chain of experiences that I've had that have brought me to an understanding of myself as I am, as I truly am. and the first seemed to have been when I felt it as a boon from Bodh Shiva, and my experiences in my pilgrimages that I've done in Nepal and Tibet, that those experiences brought me to an understanding that I have autism. And then I almost died, and the old man, he came to me, and he brought my life and the experiences and where I was in terms of work to see that the problems that I have with people, the factitious, because a lot of it stems from a lack of an understanding of my own condition originally, and then as a disorder, because it's sort of a cumulative thing. Because I have a very good memory. I don't have any real defects of like reality perception, which seems to exist with people with other forms of autism or other cognitive disorders. That it brought me to see the factitious disorder. It's only been a year of that, and so that's a whole other thing. That let things peel off, and the disorder, because it's the autism itself isn't really a disorder. It's these other things that get built up and get created, and it's other constructs. So I'm very fortunate. I'm the lucky one. I'm one of the lucky ones. Be happy for you. Yeah.